All right, today we're jumping into a really cool project called MindMatrix AI. Its mission is simple, but honestly, pretty revolutionary: to make artificial intelligence explain itself. The whole idea is to take AI from being this mysterious black box and turn it into a completely transparent glass box.
You know that feeling, right? Maybe you get denied for a loan, or you see a totally bizarre recommendation online, and you just kind of scratch your head and think, why? Why did the algorithm decide that? Well, that's the exact question this system is built to answer. It's all about taking the mystery out of machine learning.
Okay, let's break this down. On the left, you've got the classic black box AI. Its inner workings are totally opaque, which, makes it really hard to trust, and that can be super risky. But on the right, that's the goal, the glass box. It's transparent, which builds trust and lets us build responsible, reliable AI. This whole project is about making that leap from left to right.
So how does MindMatrix AI actually pull off this transparency trick? Well, it all starts with the first piece of the puzzle, a central intelligence that acts like a project manager for the entire operation.
So at the very heart of the system, you have this central coordinator agent. And the best way to think of it is like an air traffic controller. When you ask a question, any question at all, this agent doesn't try to answer it alone. Nope. Instead, it knows exactly which specialist agent to route that request to get the perfect answer. It manages the whole workflow from the moment you ask to the moment you get your report. And here's what that workflow looks like in practice. Super simple, really. First, you, the user, ask a question. Second, that air traffic controller, the coordinator, routes it to the right specialist. Third, that specialist agent gets to work and does its analysis. And finally, all of those findings are bundled up into a single, easy-to-read report. Okay, so let's meet this team of specialists. Because the coordinator doesn't work in a vacuum. It manages a whole crew of expert agents, and each one has a very specific job to do. Now, this is where it gets really clever. The whole system is split into two teams, or wings. On one side, you have the data auditing wing. Their job is to inspect the raw data before you even think about building a model. On the other side, you've got the model auditing wing, and they investigate the model's behavior after it's already been trained. The data wing is basically your first line of defense. Its whole mission is to be proactive, to check out the data before it can cause any trouble. It runs a full data report, what's called an exploratory data analysis. It finds problems like missing values, and this is critical. It uncovers hidden biases in the data before they have a chance to poison the model's logic. Then you've got the model wing, which acts more like a detective. Once a model is already built and trained, this team swoops in to investigate. It figures out which data points the model cares about the most. It can explain exactly why it made a specific prediction for one single person, and it even runs what-if scenarios to really stress test its logic. So you might be wondering, how do these AI agents actually do all this complex data science work? Well, they have a secret weapon. It's what connects their AI brain to powerful real-world tools. And that weapon is called function calling. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like giving a brilliant brain a powerful tool belt. The AI agent has all the reasoning power, but function calling gives it the ability to reach into that tool belt and use specialized code libraries, the very same tools a human data scientist would use to do their job. So, for instance, when the coordinator tells the bias detection agent to check for bias, that agent doesn't have to reinvent the wheel. It just grabs a tool from its tool belt called Detect Data Bias Function. That function connects directly to a powerful industry-standard library that's built for exactly this kind of statistical analysis. And this works for explaining the model too. If you ask, hey, why was that specific loan denied? An agent grabs the Get Local Explanation tool. This function then connects to a really sophisticated library, something like SHAP, which is a super popular method for this task, to get a precise mathematical answer. The agent then takes that answer and translates it into plain English for you. And maybe the most important tool in the whole tool belt is this one, Compile Audit Report. This is the master function. It's the one that gathers up all the individual findings from every single agent and pulls them all together for the final step, writing one comprehensive, easy-to-read report. Which brings us to the grand finale, the final output. What do you actually get at the end of this whole automated process? Well, you get a complete, easy-to-digest report. And the goal of this report is absolutely key. As the source material says, it's designed to explain complex statistical stuff in simple business terms. It's not just for data scientists. It's made for managers, for compliance teams, for anyone who needs to understand what the AI is doing.
complete with clear visuals and advice on what to do next.
So let's make this super concrete. Let's use a real-world example from the project. A user asks a very common, very high-stakes question. Why was this specific loan application rejected? A typical black box AI would just say, rejected, end of story.
But MindMatrix, it gives you a glass box answer. The system comes back with a crystal clear, quantified explanation. This application was rejected mainly because of a high debt-to-income ratio that pushed the decision towards rejection by a factor of 0.45. And a short credit history added another 0.25. Suddenly, the decision isn't a mystery. It's clear, it's defensible, and it's understandable.
Okay, so let's zoom back out for a second. We've seen how this whole thing works, but let's talk about the why. Why is this kind of AI transparency so incredibly important?
It really boils down to these 4 key benefits. First off, it builds trust, both with your users and with regulators. Second, it helps you ensure fairness by making sure the model is actually making decisions for the right reasons. Third, it just massively accelerates the work. And fourth, it democratizes insights, letting non-experts get expert-level answers without needing a PhD in data science.
And that point about acceleration is just huge. Think about it. A full data audit and model explanation report. That could easily take a senior data scientist days, maybe even weeks, to put together. This system automates that entire process, delivering those same deep insights in just a matter of minutes. That's a game changer. This final quote from the project's creators really just sums it all up perfectly. This isn't about replacing humans. It's about creating an expert AI partner that helps teams move beyond just building models that are accurate and start building models that are fundamentally fair, strong, and truly understandable.
So, I'll leave you with this thought. For years and years, the big challenge was just getting the AI to tell us why. Now that it can actually do that, what's the next important question we should be asking it?